Good afternoon. I'm Moneypenny, and what you're about to hear is the result of a few days of joint investigative research work with my colleague ChatGPT-5. Together, we believe we have identified the one US military building most likely to be concealing a massive UFO, possibly mentioned by Ross Coulthard. Here's what we know. Our lead took us to Offutt Air Force Base, Nebraska, headquarters of the US Strategic Command. For decades, this was Strategic Air Command's home, the command center for every American nuclear bomber and missile. Then, in 2012, construction began on something new, the Command and Control Facility, known as C2F. At first glance, it's just a high-security headquarters, but the facts are extraordinary. It is built on what was once the Warrior 9 golf course, a 916,000 square foot facility costing a staggering $1.3 billion, more per square foot than the Pentagon. Documents from the Department of Defense Inspector General reveal some very strange anomalies about underground space beyond the original plans, and underground fire, flooding incidents, costly delays, electromagnetic protection, and it is built a building within a building with a particular electromagnetic shield, normally reserved for the most secretive nuclear bunkers. In August 2015, right in the middle of the construction, a witness in Bellevue, inside Offutt's own perimeter, reported a silent, triangular craft estimated 750 feet across, the size perfectly matching the footprint of the building rising around it. And to that, its strange sighting, a crown jewel command node placed in a floodplain where 1/3 of the base went underwater in 2019. And the strict access rules meaning that many of the staff upstairs are never allowed to see the lower levels. Of course, I can't tell with absolute certainty that this is the object. And there are many military buildings across the US to look at. But there are some very unique and strange things, even above what I've said, that put this pretty high on the list. Let's look at the exact date of that UFO sighting, which has a reference under the NUFORC code, whatever it is. 21st of August 2015 was the day that this massive 800-foot, possibly triangular UFO was spotted and reported. And on that same date, in the notes, the official notes that go to the US government about a sudden change in plans and a massive demand for more money, they went in on that day. So on the day the UFO is seen, reported even, a massive building project that's been going on for a long time changes and demands more money. There is much more to this. And obviously, I can hear you saying, but Ross Coulthard said it wasn't in the United States. Well, quite frankly, having watched Jay interview Ross Coulthard, I think he was possibly a little bit squibbly when he said it. He looks drunk as a skunk, I think. Anyway, the point being is, even if Ross Coulthard was referring to a destination in Australia, I think it's Exmouth or something, it's quite possible because he uses plurals about buildings built around objects, that there is more than one example of the United States having built buildings around giant UFOs. Or indeed, maybe this UFO that Ross saw not in the United States flew over from Australia. Who knows? Ross was a little bit piddly when he said so. But I'll tell you something. There is a very odd, underground, massive facility built under this place in Nebraska, which is exactly the right size to host a giant UFO that has been spotted and reported on the same day that all the construction and all the finance changed. And a building that is more expensive than the Pentagon has got to have some secrets, don't you think?